Welcome everyone. It's good to see this great a turnout. I'm Dave Stradell. I'm chair of the college's business department. I'm champion of the entrepreneur program. And 4.5 years ago, this was my concept to present to the Board of Trustees and to administration. This journey started that 4.5 years ago. At that time, we called it a makerspace Fab Lab, and it was meant to come in and join our applied technology department. The Lakeshore Fab Lab, as we now know it, is a new concept that fits in between our successful traditional classes of technical education and continuing education industry training. So we're kind of wedged in between of that. The vision was and still is threefold: to be a space for grades K through 12 to learn STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, stimulating their interest in obtaining future job skills and also in maybe coding or programming, whatever. We'll call it STEM. Hopefully the kids will just call it fun. Robot kits, solar robots that they can drive out on Hackley Park there. Just imagine all sorts of things. It was to be a laboratory for local entrepreneurs to make new product prototypes with rapid iterations using our 3D printing and other technology. Basically a place where they could take an idea on a napkin and make it a prototype and a reality. This would be a place where innovation could start and evolve into local economic revitalization as businesses are created with their product ideas. And finally, it was to be a place where area businesses could eliminate either production bottlenecks, because we have some fairly sophisticated machines here, or use equipment that businesses couldn't afford to buy on their own. So really this whole space is built for the community, by the community. Along the way of this journey, John Rooks donated the Masonic Temple, which is the building that we're in. Nick and Ashley Sarnicola, Nick is here, through their Next Generation nonprofit organization, generously donated $200,000 to establish an award of up to $10,000 a year for a worthy MCC Entrepreneur Program graduate to help fund their startup. You, the community, supported us either through local foundations or privately, including successful alumni who never forgot the MCC stepping stone to their success. Approximately $400,000 in total was donated to enable us to acquire the state-of-the-art equipment that we have in here at the Fab Lab today. And we have one machine still on the way. We have a growing pool of volunteers who are helping us do so many things. We hope to soon have electronic controls on our machines to increase safety. So you can't use a machine unless you've been trained on it. And if you have a laser etcher going, you don't want people sticking their fingers in between the laser and the metal to see if it works. Okay. They've also built workbenches. Workbenches here. A volunteer came in and said, "What are you doing with that wood on the floor?" We said, "We don't know." Next thing we know, we had 2 workbenches. Or we have people who just come in and help us clean the dusty, oily cabinets that we've taken from other parts of the college. So the whole volunteerism is a big part of the community here of the Fab Lab. We hired a bright, energetic GVSU mechanical engineer, Chris Comiskey. Chris, where are you? Wave hi. Okay. While this is my vision, I don't know which end of a hammer to hold. Chris does, fortunately. But Chris right now is drinking out of that fire hose that represents the knowledge required to not only set up this equipment, but to operate it. I don't know if he's had anything to drink, but he's awfully wet. Okay. So throughout the journey, the support of colleagues and administration in the college and the Board of Trustees to help us go through and create all this. We're grateful to administration who have used their veto power sparingly to allow us to get to where we are. Today marks the grand opening of the Muskegon Community College Lakeshore Fab Lab. And on one hand, our presence here today celebrates the end of a 4-year-plus journey, successfully taking a concept from a piece of paper to reality. On the other hand, this also marks the beginning of a new journey into the future, limited only by its members' creativity. The group of travelers on this journey include technology, entrepreneurship, and community walking alongside business, entrepreneurs, and students. We've already helped a member of the Muskegon Inventors Network 3D print prototypes of his stackable product idea. We have delivered entrepreneur training to elementary, middle, and high school students through our Community E program over the past 3 years, and are looking at new partnerships with Nick Sarnicola's Next Generation Student Entrepreneur Education programs. Our Conic engineers are patiently waiting to work with our advanced 3D printers. As our experience grows, we plan to take our abilities beyond the confines of the local area. Facilities and communities such as the Lakeshore Fab Lab are far and few between, and we seek to be a resource for Michigan companies wherever they may be. I have to say our facility is not as far along as we'd like it to be. As I mentioned, a large piece of equipment is on its way, and we race to become more proficient with the extensive capabilities of our existing machines. But if you think about it, that's the nature of this place: to learn, dream, design, and build. From an entrepreneur's perspective, just simply to start. We embrace that entrepreneur spirit. We look forward to listening and taking this next journey with our members, who are you, the community. So the Lakeshore Fab Lab starts today. Finally, all of you know nothing like this is done by one person. There are many people I'd like to thank. Certainly our Board of Trustees. Board of Trustees members, would you just please raise your hand? Be recognized. We thank them. Certainly members of our administration. Members of our administration, please raise your hand. You have a few? Okay, a couple in the back. Okay. Our donors, including Dick and Ann Kraft. The Grand Haven Area Community Foundation and the Community Foundation for Muskegon County. Representatives here. Susan and Orville Crane, right there in the front. Brad Playford, who can't be with us today, is the CEO of Avasure. And the Foundation for Muskegon Community College. I also thank my colleagues at the college from a wide variety of departments: applied technology, finance, community outreach, our IT people, Don, who this place didn't get built without everything being connected. And how they do it, I still don't know, but all I know is I ask and it's done when I come in. So thank you, Don, and the IT department. Certainly thank Chris. Chris has the presence of mind to go to Toys R Us and buy out every electronic and robotic toy because they're closing for pennies on the dollar. They are now in this Fab Lab ready to be used by kids of all ages. That's the kind of guy he is. So we're grateful for him. And lastly, I'd like to thank the volunteers who are here. Some of them, volunteers, would you raise your hand, make yourselves? Between Chris and I, if we had tried to do this alone, we would never have gotten this far this fast. This whole place thrives on the community and thrives on volunteerism. So we thank our volunteers. We also encourage other people to volunteer. We can always use more help. So, all right, today we have speakers to hear and ribbons to cut and new entrepreneurs to meet, and closing remarks from the college's president, Dr. Dale Nesberry, who will be joining us from Stuttgart, Germany. This is why we have to stick to a semi-tight timeline, because he's dialing in at 12:55, right on that screen. So we have to be ready for him if we can. So let's start. I'd first like to invite Kelly Conrad, our Vice President of Academic Affairs, to come up and welcome us.
Thank you. I just want to welcome you all here on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the college's administration, Dr. Nesberry, who will be joining us, and John Selman, who's the provost and vice president, who is at another college today. All of the administration, the faculty, the staff, the students, everyone who has helped shepherd this project. This is really exciting. And as Dave said, I was the one who used veto power sparingly. I was happy to hear him say that because I kind of felt like I didn't. You all heard it. So Dave had a vision. I'm not that visionary, but he won me over, and every time he came to my door, it's like, okay, where are we going this time? And so I'm really happy that this is here for the community, and I'm really happy that all of you are able to join us and celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Mr. Mayor, please come up and make some comments for us, please.
Uh-oh, there's a politician at the microphone. Get the hook so we can get Dale in here.
We can make one.
Okay. I wrote stuff down on these cards, and I really can't read my own handwriting. The neat thing about this morning was walking in. As I'm walking in, there's a whole slew of kids from Ross Park Elementary School walking to see The Secret Life of Bees. And one of the instructors said, "Stop. This is a very important person," to which I responded, "Not really, but I will talk with the kids," which we did. And guess what we spoke about? This. And then we spoke about the promise. And then we spoke about there's no limits. Reach for the stars. What a great way to start. We're all innovators. Were we not all innovators, the city wouldn't be progressing in the renewal that we're experiencing now, and we wouldn't be celebrating MCC's presence here this afternoon, or perhaps. And where innovation doesn't throw out the tried and true, it does give us the opportunity to identify the truly tired. But to what end? To create, to make, to build, to excite, to be cool, to be fab. And we thought that went out with the Beatles. And hopefully that excitement and that fabulousness is always channeled for the common good, the human good, the feeding and the nurturing of the mind and the spirit, in the pursuit of the means and the tools to benefit our neighbors' lives and the engines that sustain our society. We've made great and wonderful things in Muskegon for well over 100 years, and we celebrate the past just around the corner and down the block on Western Avenue at the Heritage Museum. Now we celebrate today. The progression of our making and creativity in the opening of this space. This space, filled with the most magnificent tools of this age and toys from Toys R Us. But none of that, as marvelous as those machines I hope to see fully fill these rooms, the ageless tools of the human mind and the human spirit. Now let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd now like to invite Cindy Larson, President of the local chamber.
Thanks, Dave. I always hate to have to follow the mayor. So I don't have quite as much inspiration, but I have my own stories. First of all, the Chamber of Commerce has been working with Muskegon Community College on entrepreneurial programs for many years, as well as trying to support all of their efforts in manufacturing skill development. So this is a super exciting day for us. And when Dale Nesberry first came on board, he made a commitment to the chamber that he would prioritize entrepreneurism and manufacturing training. And it's just, at that time, we had no idea it would get to this point. But then when Dave Stradell told me that he had this concept about marrying entrepreneurism and manufacturing, innovation and hands-on learning, I'm pretty good, unlike you, Kelly, I'm pretty good at seeing people's vision and supporting their vision, but I was like, okay, Dave, that's okay. If I'm gonna go with you, a great guy, I'll just go with it. But about a year ago, a local manufacturing owner of a company, actually this was in Norton Shores, said to me that he was in high school, he took a shop class with 5 of his buddies. And today, all of them own manufacturing companies here in Muskegon County. And so I thought to myself, Dave Stradell was right, that we should marry the people who are really good at working with their hands with the idea that they can own their own company someday. And if we do that, we are going to secure our local economy for another generation. So I'm super excited that Dave was absolutely right. He had this correct vision, and I'm just proud to be here to share in this with you, Dave. So thank you for asking me to do this. I have our traditional certificate of appreciation for the investment that Muskegon Community College is making in this Fab Lab. But this is just for you guys to hang on the wall. I really just want to say thank you to the MCC leadership team. I know they made this possible. All the people, I can't imagine who all is behind this, but a special thanks to Dave for having this wonderful vision. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much, Cindy. I'd like to now invite Dick Kraft, a gentleman who, along with his wife Ann, made a singular donation enabling us to acquire the sophisticated 3D printing capabilities we now have in the room that bears their name, the Kraft Rapid Prototype Center. Dick?
First, I want to tell you that today is sort of a celebration for me. I graduated from Muskegon Community College 69 years ago. And I've been promoting that college ever since. But anyway, I'd like to give you a little bit of my background here. My career in civil engineering started with a pre-engineering program at Muskegon Junior College in 1949. Following that, I enrolled at Michigan State University and obtained my degree in civil engineering. I was fortunate to gain the necessary experience by employing with the Michigan Department of Transportation, an engineering and surveying firm, and a construction company. That was about 7 years worth of experience. This allowed me to take the state professional engineering and surveying experience and exam that allowed me to then own and could have its own engineering company, which I did then. So I started that company then roughly in about 8 years after I was out of college, actually still 8. So I was able to start my own engineering company, which kept me happily occupied for 50 years. At the end of 50 years, I sold the company to the top engineer then. That would be about 2008 then. So he's been there and that company is Kraft Engineering, is still in this city. So that makes it about 58 years old that company's been in the city. So these different situations then allowed me to be my own person, my own engineer. And I thought, if I could start that company then, at that time, certainly I'd be an entrepreneur someday, and that was my goal. And I reached that goal then. I reached that goal then by having my own company then back there in '08. And I was able then to have up to 25 employees through the years. And since that time, there have been many changes and improvements in engineering and in the educational programs and technology that exist today. When I graduated as a civil engineer, they're a little different today. If we were out there designing bridges and roads and all that kind of stuff, well, that's kind of sidelined now. They're out doing their thing, so that's good. So we are pleased to be here today and sharing the good fortunes at Muskegon Community College. An exciting new technology, Fab Lab, which is in the future, and I believe in that. I think that I've somewhat in my whole life for young people to go to college, and if you don't go through all the series of colleges, go to college along with your local community college, and you'll have a better job and a better career. And through that type of thing, that enabled us to do the things that we've done with the college today. Thank you.
If you stay up here, we'll do a ribbon cutting while you're here. We're going to pull it. Chris and Dee. Chris and Dee. You move the ribbons in the center. I'd like to invite Cindy and the mayor, Kelly, to come on up. A little further out towards the audience, yes, so we can get behind that. There we go. And if you could go stand behind the ribbon. Scissors. All right, so I'll say 1, 2, 3, cut. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, cut. We have a second grand opening today and an entrepreneurship award to make. There are 2 names on this building, Rooks and Sarnicola. Those names personify entrepreneur success, a desire to enhance communities through charitable activities, and an enthusiasm to help today's youth because the successful entrepreneurs of tomorrow. Infused by that spirit, the Rooks Sarnicola Entrepreneur Institute becomes a strong foundation for Muskegon Community College's entrepreneur activities in the community going forward. To better highlight the future value added by Rooks Sarnicola, let me briefly tell you what MCC is currently doing. We have associate degrees in entrepreneurship in a number of different fields at the college, encouraging students to study their passion, automotive repair, music performance, and also learn entrepreneurship side by side by that training. We reach through our high school training activities over 200 students a year in teaching them entrepreneurship. Many of them we actually get to start a business. We're also teaching 3rd graders entrepreneurship, selling lollipops, and then we take it a step further. We teach them social responsibility, and the profits they make are donated to the Pound Buddies. To date, we've donated over $700 to the Pound Buddies in 2 years. We have a successful entrepreneur student here in the audience. Ken, where are you? Ken is an entrepreneur student. You might know him as Fresco Macardo, the noodle business at the farmer's market, and soon to be in the new concept from Meyer, the Meyer, what is it, market? Bridge Street Market. He has placed his product in the first Bridge Street Market, and we expect him to be distributing products further beyond that. He started in our program wanting to be what, Ken? A restaurant owner. And we talked it through, and he discovered that maybe making noodles and selling them might be better than working 100 hours on top of his 60-hour job in a restaurant business. And the rest, shall we say, I think is history. So we're quite proud of Ken. Nick and Ashley Sarnicola established an Entrepreneur Award of up to $10,000 a year for an MCC student who completes our entrepreneur degree and seeking funding to launch. And I'll ask Nick to make that presentation in just a few minutes. The college has also recently announced a new entrepreneur certificate where somebody in a year's time can get entrepreneur training, hands-on, nuts and bolts, so that when they graduate, they'll be able and ready to launch a business. So there are then now a couple new exciting things about the value added of focusing on the Rooks Sarnicola Institute. This fall, we will launch a seminar series for area entrepreneurs, including Nick and some of his successful colleagues. The focus of this series will be on a unique topic relevant for entrepreneurs. Our intent is not to duplicate the many fine seminars being hosted by the Chamber, SCORE, or the Hub, but to bring something different. One example, we'll talk with an actual patent reviewer working in Washington, D.C., who will tell us how he conducts his patent determinations. That's a perspective I don't think that's been told here before. We'll be working with Next Generation, Nick's entity that offers entrepreneur training to high school students via electronic delivery techniques and others to find ways to reach out and touch even more of the area's youth. So we look forward to that partnership as well. These are just a few of the things which we'll be bringing out through MCC and the Rooks Sarnicola Entrepreneur Institute. So without further delay, I will ask Nick to come up for comments and then make the first award of the Sarnicola Entrepreneurship. Nick?
I haven't done much public speaking, but I'll give it a try. First of all, this is a beautiful group of people. Do me a favor, turn to the person next to you, say, you look good, but I look a whole lot better. Go ahead, let your neighbor know. It's always a great way to start. Amazing day for West Michigan, amazing day for Muskegon, amazing day for MCC, and an amazing day for entrepreneurship in general. I'm a huge advocate and lover of the topic of entrepreneurship. A couple thank yous to get us started. I want to thank Mayor Gowan for believing in the project and supporting it all the way. Dr. Nesberry, and of course, Dave Stradell, who's been kind of the quarterback from day one and the visionary. So a big round of applause for all of those individuals who've been behind and supporting it. There's a very special individual who I want to thank because I wouldn't be here, literally standing here in this place if it wasn't for him, and that's John Rooks. He is an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. He is a servant-driven entrepreneur. He takes so much diligence in just every detail, every project that he's a part of, most in West Michigan, several of them right here in downtown Muskegon, from High Point Flats, the condo, a building that he's launching, to the Holiday Inn, to Shoreline Inn, to Terrace Point Landing, that we have partnered into to do 70 homes on the Lakeshore. So anyone that needs a home, come find me afterwards. Kidding, kind of. It's been a fantastic journey, mentoring underneath him and learning, what he's done for the community. He's actually in Washington, D.C. To help improve the Holiday Inn and right here in downtown Muskegon. So if I could get a big round of applause for John, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And John is obviously the Rooks segment of the Rooks Sarnicola Entrepreneurship Institute. So, guys, my quick backstory, and it goes to kind of the last thank you. My parents are also here, and they're from West Michigan, born and raised, and I grew up in a blue-collar, middle-class family. All four of my grandparents, three primarily, worked for Steelcase. They worked about 120 plus combined years between the three of them there. My father worked for Steelcase for 44 years at Steelcase. And, you know, growing up, I saw a path that I said, okay, that is extremely hard work. It's very, very hard work. And I'm not afraid of hard work, but is there another, you know, entity or platform you can put that hard work into? So, you know, thank you to my father for instilling hard work in me, and my mother for instilling, you know, the love of people. But as I grew up, I was full of hope and belief and, you know, faith. And I remember like watching movies and reading magazines and go, I want to go there, I want to do that, I want to see that, I want to have that. I made a connection early on that, okay, if people have those things, you can have those things. And if people go to those places, you can go to those places. And I started doing the math on that, and I said, well, that's going to probably take a lot of money to do that. And it's probably going to take a lot of free time to do that. So then I started looking at my options that I learned in school, which, you know, if I was going to go the traditional school route, I probably wasn't going to be able to see the world in the way that I wanted to, or do the things in the way that I wanted to. So I said, okay, well, I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't play an instrument, I can't rhyme, and there's already one white rapper out of Michigan, so that's out. I'm not going to do anything illegal, so the only thing I'm good at is sports. So I'm going to play baseball. And I went on and played college baseball at a school down the road that we won't name that used to play against this school. And while I was playing college baseball, I was introduced to entrepreneurship for the first time. And it was, I remember initially scratching my head going, wait a second, I just went through 14,000 hours of kindergarten through 12th grade. And that's not counting the extra hours for bad behavior that I attended as well. But I just went through 14,000 hours of kindergarten through 12th grade. Tell me how there wasn't a course, a class, a book, or a mention, not once, of the word entrepreneurship. Tell me how it never hit a chalkboard one time. So I remember at 18 going, this is allowed? You can own the business? Like, you don't have to? And not to get too deep, but in 8th grade, I remember my life skills class very clearly. They gave 99 options of things you could be when you grow up. And successful business owner wasn't one of them. Entrepreneur wasn't even one of them. You could be a fireman, you could be a this, you could be a that. This is the school system that is educating every single one of your children and grandchildren, including myself. So I just checked the box that said other and put pro baseball player. But had I known that entrepreneurship or business ownership was an option, I would have pursued it as a 3rd grader selling suckers to fund social projects, right? So I can't tell, and had I known that entrepreneurship was an option in community college, I probably would have finished community college. But it wasn't. And I'm so proud of MCC for honoring the fact that entrepreneurship is what makes America thrive. It's what creates those other 99 options so that people can have a career, so that people can go to work somewhere. Somebody like the Kraft family has got to start a business that someone can go work at, or like, you know, John Rooks, or et cetera. So I pursued entrepreneurship heavily at 18 in the direct sales industry, became, you know, very successful at that by 25. The company I was a part of went out of business. I bought the assets of that company as a 25-year-old, and within that last 13 years, we've done a couple billion in sales, and that's a great journey. So I'm just shy of my 40th birthday, so I feel like I'm just getting started. And well, I guess I'm not just shy, I just turned 39. So on that journey, I remember as I became successful, I'd always said as one of my goals, I'm going to teach entrepreneurship to kids. I'm going to somehow contribute back to the education system, but through entrepreneurship. Because there has to be kids that were like me that want to see the world, do all this stuff, and don't want to use their parents' credit cards to go travel, and don't want to use, you know, don't want to live like most millennials do, where they don't have anything they own, or they want to have their own money. How do you do that? Entrepreneurship. And, you know, I said, okay, how do I do that? I set aside $1 million to create NextGen. And NextGen's sole purpose is to educate, you know, roughly teenagers to college kids on the topic of entrepreneurship, to give them a path of education in a high school or a junior high as a side program, so they can have access to content, information, and ideas that I never had access to, that I just got lucky to stumble across when I was 18. And we're doing these programs, you know, in different locations, and I had a one day, someday, maybe dream on my list of goals. And this is a goal I set my maybe early 20s. The one day, someday, maybe dream is one day I want to open a school of entrepreneurship. One day I'll walk up and our name will be on it or something. And then we opened the foundation, and literally, and this is the beautiful thing about intentionality. This is the beautiful thing about goal setting. This is the beautiful thing about continually saying, this is what I want to do one day, or this is what's going to happen, and following through on that. But I get a call from John who says, hey, I know you have a foundation for entrepreneurs. I'm going to donate a building to MCC in the downtown campus. Do you want to give the endowments to sponsor up-and-coming entrepreneurs to start a business locally? And it wasn't even a thought. I was like, absolutely, positively, yes. So today is also a dream come true for me, because this is something that I wrote down 15 years ago of what I wanted to see happen. And it's a beautiful thing that Dave and his team has done all the legwork to put this together. I'm grateful that they'd let us work together with them to help develop ideas around curriculum about what the students need to learn to prepare them a little bit. Nothing can prepare you for entrepreneurship. No textbook, no classroom. I mean, not like truly prepare you, but at least to try to get them going a little bit on what it's going to take and entail. Because entrepreneurship, out of anything, number one, it's mindset. It's mindset. I mean, you like, the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship is you get to choose which 18 hours a day you want to work. Like, that's the cool thing about it, because yeah, which 18 do you want to work today? Because that's entrepreneurship, right? That's a different mindset. It's a mindset of perseverance, because the rejection is nonstop around the clock, and it's a mindset of failure tolerance and accepting of that, and you're going to have everything thrown at you, and you just keep going. That's not taught. It's just not taught in a lot of school systems or education platforms. Leadership. Entrepreneurship is about leadership. There's the ability to lead different types of people and different skill sets and different levels and different education levels, and pull them all together and keep them on task, and that requires leadership. That needs to be taught if somebody's going to be an entrepreneur. It can't just be like, hey, I've got this good idea. That's an inventor. A good idea is an inventor. An entrepreneur has got to have the ability to put that idea and execute that idea, lead the people to put that idea in the marketplace, adapt and overcome. And that's why it's so critical. Here's the last thing about entrepreneurship for me, and educating our youth on entrepreneurship. What's the worst thing that happens? The worst thing that happens is they go a traditional route. That's the worst thing that happens. If they don't make it as an entrepreneur and they go the traditional route, that's the worst thing that happens. But they learned leadership, and they learned creativity, and they learned execution, and they learned the work ethic that it entails to go become a successful entrepreneur. That's the worst thing that happens. We should be, in my opinion, teaching entrepreneurship at every level and every place we can. It's what our country was founded on, and it's something that needs to be pushed as far as we can push it, and that's what we plan to do. My executive director, Patrick Adams, is right here in the front row. Thank you, Patrick, for everything you do in the community. And I hope that, I want to say that today is not a finish line. This is also the difference of the mindset of an entrepreneur. A lot of people are here to celebrate in their mind a finish line. This is not a finish line. This is the starting line. That's a ribbon coming. That's not crossing the finish line when you cut that ribbon. That's like the gun going off. When we cut that ribbon, that's the gun going off. Because if no kids are here, it doesn't matter. And that's a responsibility not of Dave, and not of the Kraft family or the Sarnicole family or the Rooks family. That's a responsibility of the community. You have nephews and nieces and friends and children and neighbors. You're the person that needs to enroll them into this. You're the person that needs to, quote unquote, recruit them into becoming an entrepreneurial, educated individual. Because if we're all here just to celebrate what we think is the finish line, then it's not going to get the results that you guys are looking for it to achieve. The results are going to be from each and every one of you guys, and maybe people watching this video, taking the individual responsibility to put students into these programs. And if you take the individual responsibility to do that, then I promise you, once a year, our foundation will give a $10,000 grant to start a local business. And some people are like, that's not that much. Hey, I started a company that did $2 billion in sales off $30,000. You can take $10,000, you could go get another 10 from friends and family and go to a bank and get another 15 or 20 from them. They got $30,000, $40,000 to start a business locally right here. And I hope that we can start a chain reaction, not just of the students that win the grant, but think of all the students that don't win the grant. Whether they stay in Muskegon or they stay in Michigan or not, wherever they go, it's the ability to basically turn them into a seed of entrepreneurship and then go plant themselves anywhere that they want to plant themselves to create a great a business in their community. So guys, that's what this means to me. That's why I'm a part of this. That's why I'm grateful to MCC for taking a stand for entrepreneurship. We were laughing as we came in because it is semi-ironic. I'm really more involved in the curriculum side of the entrepreneurial. I'm definitely not involved in any of these. Remember when he talked about don't let people touch the buttons in this place? He was talking about me. He said, the first time I came in here, I got electrocuted. He said, we need to put some rules around here. I am the least mechanical human being on the planet. So we were laughing because my dad can build a house from the ground up or a car from hey, help me do the brakes. No, I don't want to help you do the brakes, Dad. That doesn't sound fun. Can I pay someone to do the brakes, Dad? So I'm the least mechanical person, but if I can turn mechanical individuals into entrepreneurs, man, that is right in my wheelhouse, and I'm super excited to do that. So thank you to Dave, and thank you to everyone that's made this possible. I believe we got an awesome award to give to one of our first up-and-coming entrepreneurs. I had a chance to see his presentation. The criteria is this: you go through the curriculum, you present the business plan, and then we select the individual. And guys, this wasn't even open yet, so we're awarding this grant out of the gates, and there hasn't even been enough students to even know this exists. And we still want to get this going. We want to make a story out of this individual. He had a great idea. He presented the idea, and I said, this is actually so dead on that I run a parallel methodology personally. His idea is to subcontract all of these talented college students who know video editing, graphic design, anything in that area. And I'm like, this is exact. I said to him, you have no idea how dead on you are in your timing, because we're right now with one of our companies, we're pulling all of these talented college kids, and we're paying them to create some of the best videos and the best graphics and the best, you name it. And the talent is there. The students don't know how to get jobs because no one will hire them because they're still students. And it's significantly less expensive than going to a marketing firm down the street, and they're more cutting edge and they're closer to the fire. And this was his idea. I said, amazing idea. If you're committed to it, it'll work. And I'm excited to be able to award him. I'm gonna bring Dave up to share any other thoughts, because Dave obviously worked with him over the last several months to put him through the curriculum and mentor him. So thank you to everyone that's been a part of it. Dave, thank you very much. You'll be very proud of everything that you've put together in your vision. So Dave Stradell, everybody, thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Cody, please come on up. Cody Teal is the student. Cody is a standout. Cody has been a standout student. He's a part of the graphics design program. He's young, he's excited, he's a little bit scared. And I told him that's good, two good trademarks of being a successful entrepreneur, being a little excited and a little afraid, because you can't guarantee tomorrow. So you might as well keep going forward. Don't look behind you. So Cody has been very successful. We were glad that he participated in the competition. He did extremely well, and a couple of his colleagues did well too. Unfortunately, we're only awarding one award a year. That's the rules, and that's fine. But who knows what can happen in the future. So Nick, you want to make the...
I would love to. So do we have a certificate, or we just, I'm just going to make the announcement. So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cody will be the first recipient, and you'll forever be known as the first recipient of the next generation. No pressure. So my only advice to you, this is really important. So come in closely. My only advice, entrepreneurs, don't screw this up. Okay, So forever be known as the first recipient from Next Generation and the Sarnicola family, a $10,000 grant when he's ready to put his business into play, to start his business. So guys, do me a huge favor. Encourage this brand new entrepreneur, Cody. Give him a lot of love. Thank you so much, Cody. Yes, give him a standing ovation. Come on, give it up for this guy. And that standing ovation is important because it's the last one you'll get for a long time. So, Cody, is there anything you want to share?
No, I need a minute. You'll hear from us shortly in the future. Yeah.
Well done. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Cody. Dave, back to you.
You can have a seat. Just so you know, Cody is moving on to Grand Valley to complete his four-year degree in graphic design, but he still wants to be the entrepreneur, and the vision of the Sarnicola Award is so forward-thinking that Nick was willing to donate him money during the next 2 years to continue his business while he finishes his degree. So that's the things, those are some of the things that we can do here, because not everybody needs a degree and they can succeed without one, but people who want a degree, that should not hold them up from starting their entrepreneur journey. And Nick was very clear of that when we did the review with him. I remember the question he asked Cody. He said, Cody, standing here today, if somebody said you could have a business that was $100,000 a year or go to school, which would you do first? Remember that, Nick? And Cody said, school can wait. But his follow-up was perfect. He said, I can always go back and earn my degree. But the entrepreneur passion in Cody is so strong that he wanted to take the entrepreneur path first. And we have a lot of students who want to do that and don't know that they can, and that's what we have to work with them on, not only at the college level, but at the high school level, at the middle school level, and even in the elementary schools, to get this mindset going for the future. So a little bit about Cody. All right, we'll have the grand opening now for the Rooks Sarnicola Entrepreneur Institute. I'll say 1, 2, 3, cut. 1, 2, 3, cut. Hey! Hey! Thank you very much, Nick. Good job. Patrick, thank you. So you can. Sure, Cody, come on up. Now he's an entrepreneur, and he never gives up an opportunity.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that 2 years ago, I didn't even know how to enroll for classes at an institute. I'm a first-generation college student. I never planned on going to school until a year and some change ago. And so the fact that I'm finishing up my associates and got the opportunity to finish up my bachelor's and now considering putting that on hold, so that was like my greatest achievement. The fact that I'm putting that on hold to pursue this is just incredible and amazing, and I want to thank everybody here for coming out. So, thank you.
All right, Dale, can you see us?
I can see you.
Okay. No.
No comment. Hotel Roy in Berlin. Sorry, you make one of my today. You all look great, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. That was in some ways welcome from Munich. We're here with some students, and we do this program once a year. Now, I apologize greatly for not being able to be there in person, because this is one of the most important events, I think, in the college's history. So I very much would like to thank the Rooks, the Sarnicolas, and the Crafts for doing what we did to make this activity and this facility happen. So again, this amazing connection that we have, you all look wonderful. So that's, I just very much thank you all for being there. Thanks to the staff for doing what you've done here. Any board members, I usually have them stand and wave if you're there. I'm like, this is terrific, this is great. Any board members here, if I could ask anything? Okay, are we available? Yeah. Well, if not, hey, I'll try. So thank you very much again, and we will talk with you when I'm back in the States. So congratulations to you all.
Thank you, Dale. We're here to talk about the Fab Lab, but there's a whole building that wraps around this called the Sturris Technology Center. And through the generosity of the Sturrises, has completed the whole concept of MCC moving its applied technology capabilities to the downtown facilities. The Sturrises are here. I'd like to thank them for their generosity. Give them a round of applause, please. At this point, I would ask the donors to stay behind. We'll have another little photo opportunity. The rest of you are invited to go back to 125 and enjoy any leftover goodies. By the way, if you notice, the entrepreneur cake has sporting the new entrepreneur logo. So that will be exciting. You'll start to see more and more of that. Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you in advance for sending your nieces, nephews, sons, yourselves to come in and volunteer or become a member. Members for adults is $250 a year. You'll like this. Members for students, $25 a year. We want the students here. And I shouldn't forget to mention student memberships make great gifts for the holidays, birthdays. Thank you all very much.